You're out of luck. You know, of all the things that I was involved in my teenage years that I probably shouldn't have been, the one right thing that I was involved in was Boy Scouts of America, and I've always been proud of all that I was able to learn and do. So it's my honor actually today to introduce the BSA District Executive for this area, Lance Hawk.
If you've noticed, the average age here is somewhat elevated, so we ask you to use the microphone for us.
That's fine. I'll be very brief on my section. Again, my name is Lance Hawk. I work for the Boy Scouts here in the East Texas Area Council. Moved down here from Idaho most recently. So we have a number of programs. Obviously, a lot of people are familiar with Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. We now have a program called Venturing, which used to be called Exploring. But now Exploring is a fourth program that is career focused, most commonly law enforcement and police departments. So I'd like to invite Freddie Fitzgerald to come talk about the newest Exploring post in East Texas Area Council, and believe it or not, 9/11 was available, so it's post 9/11.
Well, my name's Freddie Fitzgerald. I'm an investigator with the Upshur County Sheriff's Office, and been wanting to start something for some time now. It's the Explorer program. Kind of give y'all a little idea about the Explorer program. It is a program that is designed to teach kids all about law enforcement if that is a career that they're going to get into. It is part of the Learning for, I believe, Learning for Life. Is that correct, Lance?
Yes.
Part of scouting. It is for youth that are boys and girls from the ages of 14 to 21. Our plan is to teach them everything that we know. That way, when they get old enough and they want to become involved in law enforcement, they just can go right to work, basically. That's what we're hoping to teach them. One thing we also look at is this is a potential hiring pool for the local law enforcement agencies. We're trying to get these kids to step up, show them, let them ride along on patrol, teach them the laws of the state of Texas, how to process crime scenes, dispatching, working in a jail. They won't actually go work in a jail right now, but we will expose them to some of that so they'll be aware of it. And that's where they can get their foot in the door when they turn 19 years of age. So they can actually go to work in the jail at 19 and still be part of the Explorer program until they're 21. Of course, when they turn 21, they can go to the police academy. We're hoping to teach them everything they need to know to pass the police academy. Or if they want to go to college and take a criminal justice degree, they'll have to step up there. They'll already know the criminal justice courses. Some of the things that we're hoping to do is have service hours for the kids that they will do in the community. You know, they'll go and help out, maybe at the clothes closet, something like that, outside of our regular meetings. It is a donation-based and fundraiser-based. That's how we get our money to purchase the things that we're going to be needing throughout the year. As Lance said, we're post 911. We were lucky enough that number was available when we started back in May, I believe, of this year. And so it's kind of a unique thing to have being recognized with 9/11. So I had a PowerPoint, but we're having a little bit of problems, and I'm kind of stuttering through some of this, so just kind of bear with me. One thing we've done so far, luckily, Mr. Brian Bowman at Gilmer High School and Mr. Albritton, the superintendent here at Gilmer, has allowed us to use the ROTC room there at the high school to conduct our meetings. Right now we have 21 registered youth, and we have basically around 15 that show up every meeting that we have. problem we ran into, a lot of them are in football, band, ROTC. So, like I tell them, they have other obligations that come first. They do those obligations, then they come, and we hope to see them at every meeting. They are in uniform. They are an extension of the Upshur County Sheriff's Office. That is our charter organization, is the Sheriff's Office. So they are in a uniform, which hopefully I'll be able to show you here in a minute, which they represent not only the Explorer Post, but the Sheriff's Office. We've had them so far right now, the National Night Out, they came and worked the Sheriff's Office booth. Next week, they'll be working the Sheriff's Office booth at the Jamboree. We're hoping to have them doing some other things. They're going to be involved in the parade with the Sheriff's Office, so hopefully y'all be seeing them there. Yes, sir.
How many adults are involved?
Right now, I have 8 adults, and that's 5 from the Sheriff's Office, 2 from the District Attorney's Office, and myself. I think that's right. I think that adds up to 8. So it's been and then we have some parents that are going to joining in and helping out later on also. They've expressed interest, which is great. That helps us out. We're kind of starting out at the very rock bottom. We're having to create a curriculum. Because one thing with the Explorer program, there's not a curriculum like Boy Scouts will have, where you get the scout book and you have all the things that you have to do to earn your rank. We actually have to create one for them. So we have a monthly meeting where we actually plan out in advance our several next meetings and also plan a curriculum. Going over the laws, traffic stops, you name it. We've done little hands-on self-defense. We've done traffic stops so far. We've had a CPR instructor come so far and teach and certify all the kids in adult and infant CPR at one of our meetings. And we're just going to build off that. We have another first aid class that I'm planning on getting to be instructed. People that I'm getting to teach these classes are other law enforcement officers, myself included, but I'm also expanding outward, not just using the ones from the Sheriff's Office or even the Police Department. I'm getting Texas Rangers already committed to come teach. One of the directors at the Gilmer College Police Science course, he's going to come over and teach some. District Attorney, one of the Assistant District Attorneys, Highway Patrol, and right now I'm a member with the Immigration Customs Enforcement is going to come, and also one with the DEA has already committed to come in and help instruct some of these courses for us. So they're going to get a wide range, not only with state but federal laws also, to help and kind of educate them. You know, I'm even inviting the parents of the kids. They're more than welcome to stay and learn also. You know, the Sheriff's Office is doing a Citizens Police Academy right now. Actually, tonight, our group is going to go sit in on the Citizens Police Academy and see how they're being instructed in that course. And we're also going to have our first promotion ceremony. We tested about 4 weeks ago, and we had several of the cadets rank up because of that now. So they're actually doing very well.
No luck with it.
No luck on that, so I need to keep rambling then.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Y'all have, yes, sir.
Who would they contact if they want, if they have a youth or there is a youth themselves that would like to join?
You can contact me at the Sheriff's Office. I'm there Monday through Thursday between 8 and 5, or 7:30 and 5:30. That would probably be the best way. Yes, sir.
Does a student have to be in Scouts to join, or?
No,
Okay.
no. Does not have to already be in Scouts. And like I said, this is co-ed, so it is boys and girls. We actually have probably more girls right now than boys that are actually signed up for it. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any plans to go into the other schools besides Gilmer?
I have went to every school district in Upshur County as of right now, and we have a good representation from all the schools. I think the only school district that I do not have a student from right now is Big Sandy, I believe. But I know we had 151 kids that signed that they were interested in this program back in May when I went to all the school districts. We ended up with about 50 that showed up for our first meeting. But of course, one thing with that, I think, was timing. Going into the summer, school getting out, going into the summer months, people going on vacation. Of course, then they forget over the summer what's going on, being kids. That's just kind of natural for them. We're going to go back in next month to all the schools again and do another recruiting drive. So kind of coincide with the Boy Scouts recruiting. You know, Boy Scouts, I think, when is that, Lance? Y'all already.
Yeah, we started in September, but obviously either for exploring or for traditional scouts, they can sign up, you know, any time of the year.
And we're gonna try to do it again in November. One reason is band should be kind of winding down with football, and then, of course, the ones that are in football, some of them will be winding down. Hopefully Gilmer and the rest of the districts here will still be going strong into December, but hopefully that's the case. But generally, that's when things kind of start winding down sports-wise. So we're hoping to pick up some more kids then.
When is,
How often do you meet, and where do they get their uniforms?
The uniforms they had to purchase themselves. That is something we just don't have the funds for. Actually, the uniforms that we just purchased that included all the patches on them, we purchased from a uniform company in Kilgore, and they were $94. So kind of equivalent to a scout uniform that a scout would have to buy himself or a Cub Scout would have to buy. And we meet every other Tuesday. So we meet tonight actually, and then not next week, but the week after. Of course, next week we'll be doing a lot of Jamboree stuff with them too, so. Yes, sir.
that was part of my question, but how much time does a meeting take? Like, what kind of time commitment does a student have to put into this?
We're, like I said, every other Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
Generally, we're not out of there until about 9:30 because we have so many kids and we're trying, and especially when we have the hands-on part, that's what takes a lot of time. We have a PT, which is physical training. We make them run the track, push-ups, sit-ups, and some other physical education things in the class. And we also have classroom where we'll have a speaker come in and teach. Then we'll do the practical application. So if we're talking about the law of, let's say, burglary, well, then we're practical application part. How do we apply that physically? Okay, I go to a burglary call, I have to clear the building. So we're actually having them clear buildings and then go into taking a report. And when you have generally 15 kids at each meeting, you wanted that one-on-one with each of them, that's where it takes time. That's why we generally run over, but it's because the kids want this to run over. They want to learn it. And we've had a lot of great interest and got a good group of kids right now. So, kind of a funny story at the National Night Out the other night. They all showed up, first time wearing their uniforms, and I mean, they're all happy. And I said, okay, guys, you're in uniform, you got to be professional. You're representing Explorers, and you're representing the Sheriff's Office. So remember, be professional. Turn my head 1 minute, they're out there doing the line dance. So there's still going to be kids. And they actually did pretty good. I got a video of it. I somebody showed. But yeah, they're kids still, but these are kids that are interested in law enforcement. And this is not just being a sheriff's deputy, being a city officer, I'm talking about game warden, highway patrol, feds, going into the FBI, crime scene processing, CSIs type things. That's stuff that they will be learning. They're going to learn everything. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm hoping we teach them about 30 years worth of stuff.
What ages did you say that you?
It's 14 to 21. They actually have another program that's called Explorer Club, I believe, and that's for a little bit younger kids to start out. We're not doing that right now. We're going to stick with the 14 to 21. Yes, sir.
You have any vetting process or anything?
Yes. They have to fill out an application, not only a BSA application, but an application we created. They cannot have been arrested for anything, pending charges against them. You know, and what we have made them do is create their own policy manual and code of conduct. What I'm finding out from these kids, the policy manual they're creating, the code of conduct they're creating, is more strict than what I would have created. And I've had to actually have them tone it down a little bit because they were making it too strict. But you know, normal things, no drinking, no smoking, anything like that. You can't steal, you know, if you're driving, no traffic violations, serious infractions as far as traffic violations. So they're actually doing a lot more than what I initially set out with the application process. And this is for the ones that are actually long. And they vote. If you mess up, these are their infractions. This is what happens to you if you violate this, if you violate it one time or more than one time. So that answered pretty good with what you wanted?
Yes, except with the exception of any physicals that y'all.
The physicals, now, we do not have, you're talking about a medical physical,
I'm
correct?
just talking about if you try to get into law enforcement or something like that, and your eyesight's terrible, or you can't hear, or you're underweight, or overweight, or gross, whatever, then you can't get in law enforcement a lot of times. Are they aware?
That's one thing we have the physical training for at the meetings. We're not going to test them initially when they join, but that's why we do have them doing push-ups, sit-ups, running around the track. And we time them. And one thing I ask of them when we test, I want to see improvement each time. So I'm asking every meeting we do it, one more push-up than you did last time, one more sit-up than you did last time, and I want to see you at least 1 second faster around that track. And if you don't, then you don't pass the test. And then you don't rank up. Because part of the physical fitness part goes into them promoting to a higher rank. And we basically use the military standard of rank, starting with private, corporal, sergeant, then lieutenant, and so on after that. But yes, that's why we do have the physical fitness to kind of prepare them, because that is one thing that a lot of law enforcement agencies nowadays are doing is the physical fitness test to get hired on. We want to make sure they can do it when they get there. Any other questions?
I guess you've developed the requirements to rank up.
Yes, we have a written test and practical application test and the physical fitness test. And they have to pass all of that in order to rank up. Like I said, we're having to come up with our own curriculum right now. One thing that we hope to be come next summer is there's a nationwide competition where Explorer posts compete against other Explorer posts. And there are some guidelines when it comes to that we have to go by when we set our curriculum up. Because if we do it just on the way we do it here in Upshur County, it might not be the way that they want it done. So we are having to base it off of the Explorer Association's guidelines, and that's the Texas Explorer Association. So we are basing our curriculum off of that. So hopefully next year they'll be able to go compete throughout, Texas, and if they do well enough, go nationwide. So I think we're probably a few years out of that, though. Any other questions? I know I'm forgetting a whole bunch of stuff right now, but
Freddie, are there any, either the sheriff's department or other enforcement agencies that were explorers in the youth currently in this area?
Longview Police Department has an Explorer post, Tyler Police Department, Smith County Sheriff's Office, I believe a constable's office in Wood County. I think Longview Police Department has the oldest Explorer post in East Texas, and I think Lufkin also has an Explorer post. You can go, most of them have a website or a Facebook page that you can go to. What I'm saying, they have about 7 or 8 kids and each, and all the pictures that they're showing on Facebook. So I actually think we have a larger group. If we get the kids that showed interest back in May, and like I said, that was 150 kids. We're gonna have a big group, and I don't know what I'm gonna do then. I'm probably gonna run, because that's gonna be a lot of kids, and that means I'm gonna need a lot more adult help. One thing we have to do as adults, we have to follow the BSA's guidelines, which is 2 deep leadership. No adult can be alone with any kid, even though we're law enforcement. There has to be 2 of us there. And if one's a female, then there has to be a male and a female adult there. So that's why I have the ladies with the DA's office helping us right now. So we still have to go by BSA guidelines when it comes to the youth protection. We all have to go online and take a youth protection training, which is now roughly about an hour long, instead of the little 15-minute course that you used to go online and take. And it's a four-part segment now that you have to take on that, so it takes a little bit of doing. So we still have to do all that, and that's for the protection not only of the kids, but for the adults. A few of the things we're going to be teaching them, I say teaching them, but letting them do later on is ride-along programs where they'll actually ride out with one of the deputies. One part I'm kind of dreading right now is firearm training. Some of these kids, you know, and the thing is, we get new officers going through the police academy. You would be surprised at how many of those new officers have never fired a gun in their life, and they're depending on the police academy to train them. That's a scary feeling. I know when I went to the police academy many years ago, that was not a comfortable feeling, shooting beside somebody that's never shot before. Well, that's another thing that we want to correct. We want to train these kids. We want to train them right. And when we do train them in firearms, there's going to be a lot of simulated training way before we ever go live. And when we do go with live shooting, it will be with a firearms instructor that teaches law enforcement. So everybody that I'm using to train, I also want them to be training officers also that are licensed through the state to instruct police officers. So they're getting the same instruction we're getting.